do that. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Jerry Wright, and I would like to welcome you this afternoon to our Zoom School Board Forum. And also, I would like to turn the mic over at this moment to the County Council of PTA for a welcome as well.
Hello there. This is Michelle Pettinger. I have the honor of serving as president of the Seminole County Council of PTAs this year. I'd like to thank the League for the partnership on the event. Of course, we're 100% in favor of helping to ensure that our voting population are informed voters, and we have a fabulous opportunity to get to know all the candidates. So as a follow-up, thank you to all the candidates for taking part. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy the experience as we all will. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you. On behalf of our board of directors and officers and members of our league, we'd like to let you know that the league is a nonpartisan organization. It encourages informed and active participation in government, working to increase understanding of major policies, issues, and advocacy within our organization. And again, thank you for being with us tonight. And I'd like to turn our forum over to Marilyn Crotty, who is our moderator. Our moderator, again, as I said, is Marilyn Crotty. She's a longtime league member, and she was a former president of the league. Marilyn retired as the director of the UCF Institute of Government after 36 years in her position. And at this time, I will turn over our Zoom forum to Ms. Crotty.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hello.
Jerry, Diane, could you turn off the video and everyone except the candidate?
Hello?
I think we have a few people who are not candidates who we're seeing on the screen. So we want to just see the candidates. That's great. And if Kelly Davis has joined us, she needs to put her video
Hello.
on. I don't know who's saying
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm not sure who's talking now, but that person.
I think it's Carol Hinshaw. Maybe we can put her on mute.
Okay. And okay, so thank you very much. I'm delighted to be able to moderate this forum this evening. We're going to be presenting the candidates who are running for the Seminole County School Board, and we have a lot of them, which is very fortunate because you have a lot of decisions to make as informed voters, and we hope this evening's program will make that decision a little easier for you. In Florida, school board elections are nonpartisan, so none of the candidates will be running with any party designation, nor should there be any designation on any of their campaign materials. But it means that everyone who's a registered voter in Seminole County will have the opportunity to vote for these candidates on the primary that's on August 23rd. It's also important that you understand that there are three separate races that will be on the ballot. There are three district seats that are up for election, and I'll try to designate as we talk with each of the candidates which district they are running in, and I will be grouping the candidates for the questions by district, so you'll understand that those are the people who you should be comparing to each other. The school board election is for a 4-year term, and this year, for the first time, term limits will be going into effect. So people who are elected this year will have the opportunity to serve a maximum of 8 years before their terms will be up. And that's a new thing in Florida by a law passed by the Florida legislature last year. The annual salary for a school board member is $43,757, which is the latest information I was able to find. Each candidate must live in the geographic district they are running in, but the election is an at-large election, which means no matter where you live in Seminole County, you have the opportunity to vote in each of these three districts that you'll see on the ballot. In two of the races, there are 4 candidates. And so if none of them gets more than 50% of the vote in the primary, the top 2 vote getters will be in a runoff in the November election. So let me talk a little bit about the format this evening. As you can see, we have muted everyone except for the candidates, and we have also stopped the video for everyone because there's approximately 200 people have registered for this forum. That's wonderful. Right now, there's 133 people who are actually online. Hopefully, some more of them will be joining us shortly. We're going to begin the forum with opening statements from each of the candidates. They'll have 1.5 minutes to make their opening statements. You'll be seeing a yellow sign flash on the screen when there you see it, when they have 30 seconds left, and then a red or pinkish red sign will appear when their time is up. And I would appreciate it if the candidates stay within that time frame so that we have an opportunity to get to as many of the questions as possible. After we finish the opening statements, I will be directing questions to the candidates, and they will have 1 minute to respond to those questions. We invited all of the participants to submit questions in advance, and there were many of them that were submitted. Unfortunately, we won't have time this evening to get to all of those questions, but a committee from the PTA and the League of Women Voters reviewed the questions, combined some of them, made sure they were appropriate for the forum, and gave me those questions. So that's what I'll be submitting to the candidates. I'm going to be asking different questions to each district group of candidates as we go through this. Although the first question will be going to everybody on the panel. And of course, we'll try to get to as many of the questions as we can. And the end of the question period, we'll have a 1 minute closing statement from each of the candidates. So let me just ask if Kelly Davis has joined the forum. Does anyone? There you are. Great. Okay, good. And if you could put your name up with your district number, that would be great. I see your names there, and just add the district number. So the candidates this evening are in District 1, Deborah Bauer and Christine Kraus. Christine is an incumbent in this office. In District 2, we have Sean Cooper, Kelly Davis, James Evans, and Eric Monty. And in District 5, the 4 candidates are Dana Fernandez, Autumn Garrick, Joshua Meminger, Agar Quinones Aristone, and those are your 10 candidates that you'll be hearing from this evening. So we're going to begin with opening statements, and we'll start with District 1. And the first opening statement will come from Ms. Bauer.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Deborah Bauer. I'm proud to say that I am a product of Seminole County Public Schools, having graduated from Sterling Park Elementary, South Seminole Academy, and Lake Howell High School. I'm also a graduate of Seminole State College. I have a long list of academic credentials that I won't bother everyone with, but I will simply say that my terminal degree is a doctoral degree, a PhD in American history. I've proudly been teaching in the classroom for 20 years as an American history teacher. I have been a volunteer in a number of nonprofits, both in Seminole County and in the district. Currently, I serve as a mentor at Lake Howell High School as a part of the Take Stock in Children Reading program. I'm a volunteer for the Seminole County Public School Foundation, Seminole State Foundation. And one of the things that I love doing the most is I'm a first grade reading tutor at Altamont Elementary School and in Sterling Park Elementary School. The thing that I'm most proud of in the last year is having been able to be president and founder of the Save Deer Run Citizens Action Group that was responsible for helping to partner with Seminole County to purchase a new park that is going to serve countless generations of Seminole County citizens. And I decided to run because I believe I have the courage to stand up to act as an advocate and as a representative for parental rights in the district. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to the opening statement of Christine Kraus.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Christine Kraus, and I'm currently serving as your District 1 Seminole County School Board member. I started this journey in 1997 when my oldest son began school. I volunteered at every level on PTSA, on School Advisory Council. I've devoted 27 years volunteering in our district, served on the superintendent's governor's all-star selection committee, 2 rezonings, a high school and elementary rezoning. I was always actively involved. And of course, now I'm serving as your school board member. My background is in early childhood education, which is one of my priorities for our district. And I too have volunteered in our neighborhoods and in our communities. We have a Stop Walmart project where Rock and Brews is located that we were instrumental in garnering 10,000 of our neighbors to oppose that development. And I was quite proud of that as well. We have a lot of work to do in our district, and I look forward to continuing to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to now move to the candidates for District 2, and the first opening statement will come from Sean Cooper.
My name is Sean Cooper, and I'm running for District 2. My wife, Addie, and I have been Seminole County residents for the last 26 years. We have 2 beautiful children. Our daughter, Emerson, attended Seminole County Public Schools and is now studying at Full Sail University. Our son, Wyatt, just finished 6th grade at Millwee Middle. He's part of the engineering track there. From 1996 to 2021, I worked with students and parents at a church here in Longwood called Northland. Over those 25 years, I spent countless hours in developing students as leaders in our community. I've walked with parents through some of their best days with their children, as well as some of their most painful days. I developed and ran an internship program called the True North Academy that aimed at helping students get practical job experience. I currently work for a nonprofit called Global Unites, where we operate in 13 different countries, including the US. And we train students on how to be peace builders in their local community. Last year, I had the privilege to volunteer and do over 100 workshops on high school campuses. The workshops focused on building healthy relationships and developing conflict resolution skills. I've been endorsed by Sheriff Dennis Lima and grateful for his support. Mostly, I want to remind students that their best years are ahead of them, not pre-COVID. I'm committed to pouring my heart, my time, and my energy to helping every student succeed academically.
Thank you. We'll now move to the next candidate in District 2, Ms. Davis.
Good evening, everyone. Kelly Davis. I am running for Seminole County School Board, District 2. I started my career in teaching back in high school when I used to tutor students, especially in mathematics. When I went to college, I went to school for mathematics and education. Prior to launching my educational studies, I went into the United States Army. In the Army, I won 2 awards, the Army Achievement Medal and the Army Commendation Medal. I did a swim training program there, and I also did weapons training. After leaving the military, I started at community college back in New Jersey. After leaving New Jersey, after my associate's degree, I came to Florida, right here at University of Central Florida. I studied in mathematics and education. After obtaining my degree, I worked at Seminole High School as a mathematics teacher in grades 9 through 12. It was there that I found a passion for teaching, and it was there that I went about volunteering my services to a new program where we educated and advised women who were pregnant, and we wanted them to stay in school. We had groups with their fathers of the children, and we had a 75% in student participation in high school and graduation based on that program.
Thank you. Your time is up, Ms.
Okay, thank you.
We'll now move to the third candidate in District 2, Mr. Evans.
Good evening, everybody. My name is James Evans, and I'm running for Seminole County School Board District 2. I am a Winter Springs and Seminole County native. I was educated at Keith Elementary, Indian Trails, and Winter Springs High School, with a brief stint at Winter Springs Elementary. I went to school for economics, and I'm currently serving as a realtor with Century 21. My background in all of this is that my business has always been community focused, particularly for teachers. I've sponsored teachers every single year to help them, get their classrooms going, particularly for new teachers. And what that really allowed me to see was that teaching is absolutely a skill, and it's not a skill that I possess. But we need to be reinforcing our teachers, and that's why I'm proud to announce that I did receive the local teachers organization endorsement, as well as Chairman Ed Young for Soil and Water, who is a teacher himself, for the leadership position in Seminole County School Board. We're looking forward to really attacking the status quo here. Seminole County Schools is 9th in the state, which is phenomenal. But I believe we have a lot of improvement we can do, particularly in our underperforming schools in the bottom 25%. So if you're looking for a status quo breaker, James Evans.
Thank you. And the final candidate for District 2 seat, Mr. Monty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Monty. I'm running for Seminole County School Board, District 2. The reason why I'm running is because I have two biggest reasons, because I have two children in the Seminole County Public Schools. I have a 7th grader, my daughter Allie, who's at Indian Trails Middle, and I have my son Fred, who's in 4th grade at Rainbow Elementary. I moved here from up north, from New Jersey 7 years ago, and I moved to Seminole County for its excellent public schools. And I came here. I was very happy so far for the first few years I was here. But after a few years, I noticed some changes that I wasn't really happy with. I gave up my career in 2016 to be a full-time stay-at-home father. I am the only candidate in my district who can dedicate full-time to the school board because I have no other paying job occupying my time. And my background is in engineering. I have a chemical engineering degree, plus I also have an arts degree in history. Plus I also have a Master of Information Technology Management, and I also have an MBA. My approach to this is not as an educator, because I'm only a substitute teacher.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I'm only a substitute teacher, and I volunteer teaching at my church. What I bring to the table is 25 years business experience. I really understand processes and systems, and I understand how to bring a real keen eye to the budget so that we can use our tax dollars wisely. With the inflation issues nowadays, we have to make sure we keep our taxes low and use our money efficiently here in Seminole County Public Schools. And I'm an advocate for parents and for higher education standards.
Thank you. We'll now move to the candidates who are running in District 5. The first to give opening statement will be Ms. Fernandez. I think she's muted.
I'm so sorry. My name is Dana Fernandez. I am running for School Board District 5. I hold two master's degrees, one in international relations and one in education. I am a career changer. Before starting my career in education, I worked in the corporate world. I worked in nonprofit, in fundraising. I have a very varied background, and I realized my passion was children. And so I have been a New York City school teacher for over 12 years. I am from New York originally, and my family and I moved to Seminole County, to District 5. We proudly live here in Longwood. And we have many of our children who are going to be in the school system here. My son was at Markham Woods Middle School. Now he will be going to Lake Mary High School. And our youngest are 3-year-old triplets that will be starting the Seminole County school system very soon. We have a total of 8. My priority here is for parents, because I have seen very much happen in the school systems, and I'm afraid that it's happening here. I am concerned for the parents' rights, and I'm concerned for educators, and I think I am the perfect bridge and person to see both sides and help our students in the best way possible. Thank you.
The next candidate in District 5 is Ms. Garrick.
Hi, my name is Autumn Garrick, and I am running to win Seminole County School Board Seat 5 and continue my service to the students and citizens of Seminole County. I've dedicated 21 years to Seminole County Public Schools. I founded the educational story theater company Tales to Tell, and I've been hired to work at 30 of our 37 Seminole elementary schools, exciting kids to read. Additionally, in Central Florida, I've worked at nearly 200 schools and libraries. I'm the proud mom of 3 SCPS graduates, and they are now thankfully all in grad school. While they were in school, I did extensive volunteer work, and I've recently upped my dividend status. Since I embarked on this journey as school board member, I have worked in 10 schools since January or February to make sure that I really have a pulse of our current students. Let's see, I have taught my daughters and as well as the students I've mentored that when you believe in something, you stand up and you take action. And that's why I'm standing up to run for school board. I believe in education, public education, specifically Seminole County public education. And I'm doing my homework and I'm ready to serve.
Thank you. The next candidate in District 5 is Mr. Meminger.
Good evening. I'm Joshua Meminger, running for Seminole County School Board District 5. And my background actually starts in law enforcement. So I've been a career public servant now for almost 15 years. And I also had the chance while working to go ahead and get my associate's degree in criminal justice, my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I'm a certified school resource officer through the Florida Attorney General's office. I'm certified in crisis intervention, which is mostly focused on mental health, especially for juveniles and youth mental health. I'm also a community advocate. I'm a youth football coach. I'm the chairman of a juvenile justice committee. I spent about a decade running a youth program, which is focused primarily on making sure that we develop law enforcement leadership for the future with high school students, so mentoring and teaching high school students. And my passion kind of developed from being in the school resource as an officer and then as a supervisor of a unit, which comprised of about 11 campuses and about 14 officers on a day-to-day basis for school safety. So developing a passion within a passion that definitely gave me the insight and perspective and hands-on experience inside of our school. So father of 3 as well, and all of them attend Seminole County Public Schools. I'm a longtime District 5 resident, and I am absolutely thrilled about this journey, and I look forward to serving you all on the board.
Thank you. And the final candidate in District 5, Ms. Quinones Aristone.
Yes, so good evening, everyone. My name is Agar Quinones Aristone. I am running as a candidate in District 5. Just to give you a brief overview of who I am, some of my qualifications. I've been a resident of Seminole County for about 10 years. I currently live in Sanford for the last 3, which I absolutely love, with my 2 children who are students in the Seminole County public school system, as well as my husband of 17 years. I do have a long background working in the public school, nonprofit, as well as the private sector. I have 15 plus years in the field of education. I hold a doctorate in education, leadership, and management, as well as 2 teaching certifications, one in art education and one in exceptional student education. Now, just a little bit more about some of the qualifications I have. I did serve on the discipline committee at one of the schools. I have worked in 3 different counties within the state of Florida, proud to say that. As well as I've served on the formal assessment writing team for Orange County Public Schools, and also served, also served on a board that helped oversee some of the questions for the FTC exam, just as a consultation. Now, one reason why I am running, well, is because I want to put our kids first. I got into the field of education because I love our children. I love serving them and their families. I love the whole education aspect. I want to put not only my kids into a high quality education, and I know you want to as well. I'm here to empower parents as well as teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're now going to move to the question and answer period. And the first question is the only one that I'm going to direct to all of the candidates. So get ready. We're going to go again in alphabetical order, starting with District 1. Some of you have alluded to this already in your opening comments. If so, expand upon it a little bit. And for the rest of you who didn't have an opportunity, I'd like to know, if you are elected, what is your highest priority for the Seminole County school system and why? So we'll begin with Ms. Bauer.
The most important skill that any student needs to succeed in their education is the ability to read and the ability to write. If students can't read and they can't write, then they can't go on to do things related to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or any of the other courses that they need to have to be able to prepare themselves for their career vocational path or perhaps a college path. The latest numbers that have come out of Seminole County Public Schools show that 1 out of 3 third graders can't read. The number is higher than that if you go with what the students who need assistance. I think we need to increase our tutoring. We need to increase a focus on helping our students get the help they need to read so that we can make sure they are prepared to do what they need to do to succeed as students. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will remind everyone you have 1 minute for your answers to these questions. Ms. Kraus.
Yes, thank you. My highest priority I would have to say is school safety. Without providing the absolute safest environment, no learning can occur, no teaching can be accomplished. School safety needs to include mental wellness for both our students and our staff. And I think that there are a lot of things that we can address along with school hardening, additional SROs. I believe that teachers want to teach. They don't want to be armed in the classroom. We have a great partnership with our sheriff's office, and I want to continue building on the programs that we have and look for new opportunities to provide the safest environment possible. Thank you.
Now we'll start with the District 2 candidates. Mr. Cooper, you're up first. Your top priority.
Well, the highest priority as a school board member has to be academic success for every student. Fortunately, in a county like ours, we can celebrate a lot of great success. There's still much work to do, some improvement with certain schools. Every time we see a statistic or a number where there is need for improvement, that's not a number. That's a child, that's a parent, a family that wants to see success for their son or daughter. And so we want to make sure that that stays a high priority for Seminole County. But right on the heels of that, I would say, is improving the mental health in every district. These last 2.5 years were extremely difficult. We've got a rut that we still need to get out of. I believe that we need to pour into improving the mental health of our teachers as well as our students, and we'll continue to see high academic success.
Thank you. Ms. Davis. I think we lost Ms. Davis. I think you're muted there. Good. Your
Kelly
high
Davis.
priority. Sure.
Hi, I am here for the students. I want to advocate best for the students. We can bring in teachers, we can bring in parents as it's part of the team. As a team, we can promote those students, especially in the areas of discipline, mental health, and leadership programs. I think in access to programs that will make them succeed in college from an early age will make our Seminole County residents very proud of our students, and I think that they would remain in Seminole County to promote our community. I also believe in not expelling students for discipline issues. I believe in making things better for them, evaluating them, find out why these students are behaving this way. I don't think a discipline program where we suspend and we expel students is the best route to go for our community.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Yes, my highest priority, if elected to school board, is increasing the transparency within our board. And that's a overall encompassing issue. You know, we've had discussions about the comments on social media, but really we're also talking here about addressing issues. As we like to say in Florida, we must bring it into the sunshine. We must talk about the discipline issues and the behavior issues that are going on in our schools. We must talk about our underperforming students who are failing to read, failing to know their math skills. And these are issues that will lead far past the educational system in Seminole County and will directly affect them in their career and personal lives. So we must discuss issues that are actually affecting our schools to actually take care of those problems. And that'll be my biggest focus as your school board member.
Thank you. Mr. Monty?
Yes, hi. My highest focus is to make sure we prepare our students for the real world, and not only reading and writing, in the elementary schools, but making sure we get them on the right path to what career they want. Could be a college career for certain professions, could be a vocation, it could be entrepreneurship. I'm very big on entrepreneurship. I'd love to hammer home financial literacy to all of our students to make sure that they don't get into silly loans that are bigger than any house that they could possibly ever own. My hope is also to create a uniform discipline policy that will back up teachers in the classroom, and also make sure the parents know what they're dealing with when they deal with problematic students, to keep a learning environment open and free of disruptions in their classroom. And finally, one of my biggest focuses is ESE education. Seminole County has been lacking in a lot of that, where a lot of students are leaving to Orange County. It's the fact that we have the largest budget in the county means that we should really be focusing more on helping these students who are not getting the services they deserve in Seminole County.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the candidates from District 5, the highest priority, Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you for the question. So, academic success, safety in the schools, mental health, more funding for better programs. I love it all. Everyone loves to give those answers. Now, let's be honest with each other. The biggest problem and my biggest priority in the school system, in the public school system in general, is the fact that there has been a very big cultural shift that has alienated parents from the school system. And that is the first thing that needs to change. We need to work together, and that is not by alienating the parents, and that is by working with the educators, allow them to do their job without having a political agenda in that school. And this is why no board members want me on there, because we're going to speak the truth. And this is what the priority is. Everything else after that can change.
Ms. Derrick?
Well, in the legendary words of Walt Griffin, students, students, students. They will always be my first priority, but a very close second is educators and support staff. Without our educators, our students won't have the foundation to succeed. Our public schools, Seminole County Public Schools, have an average experience at level of 12 and a half years per teacher, and 46% of our teachers have master's degrees. They have to be paid like the educated professionals they are. It's great that we got our beginning teachers up to 47.5, but we really need to make sure that we look out for our experienced teachers. Now, money is imperative. We'll turn over every stone, but we can also get creative. There's an HR policy in Sanford that allows city workers to go in and volunteer in the schools, and that's a little bit of help. So I've been going to the cities advocating for the same HR policy, and tomorrow night, if you want to check me out in action, I'll be at the city of Longwood asking for their help to support our teachers in schools.
Thank you. Mr. Meminger?
Hello. Well, my expertise is school safety, but I'm actually going to pivot because I feel as Member Krause pretty much covered a couple of the topics, but I'll go in depth later on. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity. So I'm going to go with how we change the organizational culture. So one of the things I learned graduating from the Florida Leadership Academy was addressing organizational culture changes. And so from years speaking to educators and parents, definitely want to address how we interact, how we engage, how we teach and train leaders, and how they in turn lead our organizations on their campuses. So one of the things I would love to pass down from the top down is start to look at how we have the culture in the organization and how we're going to change it, how we're going to affect it. So that's something I would love to bring as my kind of start out along with school safety.
Thank you. Ms. Quinones Sarah Stone?
Thank you so much. So one of my top areas that I think we should focus on as a school board is, of course, student achievement. Now, that is one of our sole goals as a school board member. But in order to focus on student achievement, it means that we're reaching all of our students, especially and including our students, our ESE students. And I speak from the heart and from personal experience, having not only worked with those in the special needs community, but also having a daughter with the 504 plan. Now, when we talk about student achievement, in order for us to grow and develop our students in the classroom, it requires that we have teachers in the classroom. And a recent study shows that in Seminole County Public Schools, 50%, actually 52% of teachers stay in the classroom in that 5-year range. And after that, it drops off and we lose our teachers. We need veteran teachers in the classroom. Now, to have student achievement, veteran teachers in the classroom, as well as new incoming teachers, it also requires that we have relationships with our parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're now going to move to questions that I'll give to each district. And although none of the candidates have seen these questions in advance, I will have to say as I move to the next question, which will go to District 1, that Ms. Krause, you'll answer first. You've already addressed this somewhat, but I'd like you to elaborate on it. And of course, Ms. Bauer, you'll have an opportunity also. So for District 1, what, if anything, would you do to improve school safety within the county?
Thank you for the question. I believe we need to continue working with our sheriff's office and looking at new technology. We have a 5-year plan that includes safety enhancements at every district. There are some enhancements that we may need to prioritize throughout the district. There are cameras certainly in some locations, but not every location. I think cameras would be one of the possibilities. I've also attended a work session where 2 fellows developed through the UCF incubator program a tethered drone that could hold a camera. Since we're monitoring cameras anyway, that would be another option to do the whole campus. So I think we need to be creative in how we look at it, and also increasing mental health support throughout the district. Thank you.
Ms. Bauer?
So the biggest problem that I think that is contributing to the issue of school safety is the fact you've got 2 issues. One is that students forgot how to play well with each other, to put it in common terms, when we were out from COVID. But even more importantly than that, there are 2 issues we don't like to talk about here in Seminole County. We have a gang problem, and we have drugs and weapons on our campuses that students are not afraid to come to school with. Even though there is a zero tolerance policy, we've got to do better at enforcing that. And I think the way we do that is we increase the number of school resource officers on campus. Right now, we have 1 school resource officer per elementary school, 1 per middle school, 2 per high school, and we have 25 that float in the district on any given day. We have to increase that to at least 2 per middle school, 3 per high school, and we have to get parents and dividends back in campus, because when we have people who are volunteering, it lets teachers do their jobs as opposed to be disciplined babysitters. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go to the candidates for District 2. It's kind of a long question, and you're only going to have 1 minute to answer it. So I'll be happy to repeat the question if any of you need me to do that. How do you propose to navigate the various restrictions placed on school districts by recent legislation concerning topics like critical race theory, gender identity, objections to reading materials, and parental involvement? And we'll begin with Mr. Monty.
First and foremost, I would say that, the reason why Tallahassee got involved is because we on the local level were not listening to parents and listening to other people in the district about what they did want their students to learn in the classroom. The policy itself, though, is pretty clear. We need to understand that there's a lot of parents out there who do not like certain things being taught to their kids. They would like to be able to teach that to their kids. They would not want a stranger to do that. They also do not want certain topics that may be considered a little too young for them. Okay, certain things are more age appropriate than others. So I think the policy is pretty clear. It is the law. We have to follow it. And we will do our best to make sure that we are respectful to everyone in the community in the Seminole County Public Schools, and make sure that we are welcoming to all.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Yes. So the biggest thing that we must reiterate as an elected official for school board is to understand that the curriculum and the policy does come from the top down, from Tallahassee. So regardless of what the law is, the elected official's duty is to uphold the law. And as an elected official, that is what I would do. However, especially when it comes to the parental rights bill, we must be very, very careful and courteous to our LGBTQ plus teachers. They should have their own rights and they should have the ability to be who they are as a person. But when it comes to the curriculum, we shouldn't be teaching things with a lens, right? We have history. We have a beautiful, diverse history, the good and the bad, and we should be teaching our history and our country just from a historical perspective. And I think most of the laws that are coming from Tallahassee enforce that ideal.
Thank you. Ms. Davis?
Kelly Davis, thank you. I understand that we need to follow the law. I also understand where these laws came from. And unfortunately, a lot of these laws came from scared parents. I want to respect those scared parents and I want to address their issues and why they feel these things are concerning to them. As a teacher for 5 years at Seminole High School, we did not teach criminal rights theory. We did not educate students on sexual orientation. We did not promote different things. So what I want to see is a clarity in all of this, and to recognize that our diverse student population needs to be respected. And through these laws, I don't think that they are being respected. The law means one thing and it says one thing, but then these students are treated in a different way. And I don't think that's right.
Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, there are two important points for me on this topic. First, we've got to get back to the basics in our education. That's not a political position. That's just what our kids need. For us as a family, when we go through a difficult time, like all of us have gone through over the last 2.5 years with the pandemic, as a family, we go back to the basics when we go through a time of instability. And I believe that's what we need right now in order to see improvement on things like our reading scores. We've got to improve on all the core subjects. So getting back to the basics is priority. And secondly, along with that, we have to have a commitment to stand together against any form of racism or bigotry or bullying, anything that's going to be divisive and detract our students from feeling safe and feeling like they can have success academically. So as a board member, I'm committed to keeping us on track with academics and clearing the path for our teachers to do what they do best.
Okay. So the next question will be addressed to the candidates for District 5, and we'll begin with Ms. Quinones-Aristone. How do you view the balance of parental rights versus parental engagement?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, when it comes to parental rights, and speaking again as a parent, I think it's important that parents have a say. They're at the table. Now, being in education over the last 15 years, as an educator, teachers would always say, and I was one of them, I always wanted more parent involvement. So I wanted engagement, I wanted parental involvement. But I would say within the last year or so, that's kind of flip-flopped, where we are saying to some of our parents, you know, hey, that's a little too much involvement in our school systems. And at the end of the day, it has to be a partnership. So parents should be engaged in the education process, because again, this is a partnership, and that's actually listed in the Seminole County Public Schools policy, front page. This is a partnership between parents, teachers, and the community. So yes, it is a balance, but we cannot cut off that relationship building with our parents or with our community. So it is a delicate balance. Thank you.
Mr. Meminger.
Hello. Well, I'll start by saying, well, define parental rights. And so parental rights are obviously just what they sound like. It's the right of the parent to be informed, to know what's going on with their child, that they participate in the process in education. So when they show up to school board meetings, things like that, those are part of parental rights. And then they are voters, first and foremost. So you got to think, well, if they're voting and this is something that they vote upon in legislation or through their legislators, then they're exercising their parental rights. Parental engagement is more of the day-to-day interactions, the making sure that they follow up with teachers and educators and how they come to the schools and what they do as far as our daily processes. So I think the two can balance themselves out. It just requires board members with experience dealing with the public, one, and dealing with parental rights and parental engagement. I'm a parent myself and I understand both worlds very uniquely.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
Parents are the final and really the only authority over their children. Period. The end. What's happened now to the public school systems is that they have infringed on these parents' rights that have always been there. Parent engagement is something entirely different. I have a very strong reputation with having an amazing relationship with all of my parents throughout the years. It is a relationship that an educator develops with students' parents for months, if not years. And each parent has a right to be as involved as little or as much as they want. But in terms of parental rights, the schools need to understand, again, there needs to be this shift in culture that has been detrimental. The schools have to understand that the parents decide what they want for their children.
Thank you. Ms. Garrick?
Well, parents will always be the #1 influence on a child's life. And we need to harness that energy and make sure that our parents are brought in as an active member of the educational team. One of the things when I was researching solutions to this that I found out was that we have a parent academy in Seminole County, but it's not very robust. Orange County has a very active parent academy. And I would like to use some of those tools to excite parents and give them the necessary strategies to make sure that their kids are ready to read when they start kindergarten. They come in with those pre-learning, those pre-reading skills to make sure that by the time they're in 3rd grade, they're solid readers. And when they get to middle school, boy, that is challenging. But you know who knows how to navigate middle schoolers better than anybody? Teachers who have been doing it for decades. I raised 3 kids and I'm still no expert of getting people through middle school. Let's look to the educated professionals.
Thank you. We'll now move back to District 1. And Ms. Krause, you'll answer first. What, if any, are ways you can address diversity, equity, and inclusion in the school district as a school board member?
Thank you for that question. We formed an equity and diversity committee two years ago. I guess we approved it 2 years ago, and they've made recommendations to us this past year. And one of the recommendations is that they recruit staff members, teachers, parapros from a diverse background. And currently our 2 main schools for diversity, for hiring, are UCF and Rollins College. And so they're going to look more broadly at some of the historic Black universities and possibly even into Southern Florida to recruit teachers to come work for the best district in the state. Thank you.
Ms. Bauer?
So I think that the thing that we have to keep in mind with this topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion is that all of that relates to communication. Communication from the top down, from the bottom up, and from the public to the administration. One of my ideas has been I would like to see established a forum, which I'm calling the Seminole Schoolhouse Program, which would require every board member, the superintendent, once per year at rotating school sites to have 2 hours of what I would call the equivalent of office hours, which means anyone can come and talk to us during those times about whatever they want. I think that that will allow a better interplay so that we have people who don't feel when they're going to board meetings that that's their only place to have communication with district personnel and the board, and it will hopefully make it less combative. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will be addressed to the candidates in District 2, and we'll begin with Ms. Davis. Staff hiring and retention, both of teachers and support staff, including counselors, has become a serious issue in Florida. What can be done on the county level to assure adequate levels?
I was a teacher in Seminole County, and we started out at about $22,000 a year. I wanted to make that 5-year limit, like a lot of teachers want to do at this point, because back when I was a teacher, you needed 5 years teaching in order to be a principal. Pay-wise, it was very difficult to support 2 young children by myself. The expenses that the economy has caused now, it's even more necessary to pay these teachers, pay these administrators and these school bus drivers and other support staff, the ability, pay them with the ability that they can survive. With everything and all of our expenses going up, they need the support from the school board, and in order to try to make our budget work, where all of these employees are making a decent living to where they can support their families. I know this just from experience in the last 30 years. So I believe in higher salaries for all, and I believe that this is what we need to do as a school board when we look at the budget and when more funds. Thank you.
Mr. Monty?
Yes, the recent inflationary issues is definitely putting a crimp on teachers, and I know that Tallahassee came down and raised the lower end teaching salaries, but unfortunately, the middle of the pack people who've been here for several years, feel like, hey, where's my raise? And usually you have to wait for a negotiation with the union contract and such. But yes, I agree that we should look at the salaries of teachers and increase them. I know we've lost a lot of excellent teachers because of the inflation, because they've had to go out and get other jobs outside school, which pays better. One thing I'm really advocating for, and the Department of Education of Florida has advocated this new program called a Military Personnel Veterans and Spouses Program to fast track teacher credentials for 5 years for military veterans. I greatly would support that. I think having more military and men in the district would actually help with the discipline problems as well, to give these children a good role model to look out for, and also to improve the pool of possible teachers in the school system.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper.
Right. Well, with a budget of a little over $1 billion, on the one hand, that's a big number, but it's important to remember that just over 80% of that goes towards salaries, which we want it to. Taking care of our teachers and staff helps us take care of our children. So that's a great place for those dollars to go. Our reserves are strong right now at about 7.6%, but with inflation, that's going to impact gas for the buses, and other factors are going to weigh in and eat away at that. So we've got to really pay attention to pay attention to our reserves as well. But our administrators, I know I've spoken with them, are working tirelessly to trim off the fat, so to speak. I think what we need to do is educate our voters. This is a place where we can make a huge difference in our state. We do need to advocate for more funding from the state so that we can have more dollars to help our veteran teachers especially. We can't afford to lose any more of them.
Thank you. The next question will be for District 5 candidates. We'll begin with Ms. Garrick. What is your plan to get individual schools that are not currently A-rated up to par with the district rating?
Well, I love this question. I think we absolutely need to be proud of the grades we've made, but we need to look at our most vulnerable students and realize that there are still some that aren't on grade level. I just learned, and am very excited to share, that we have an intervention specialist this coming year. It is a shift from a veteran educator from our school system, who is now going to have a dedicated position to address those most vulnerable students. So I think we absolutely need to applaud our district for taking that step, and we need to make sure that we get the community involved. I was at an event this past weekend where there are lots of community, both faith-based and non-faith-based groups that are looking to help our children who are falling through the cracks, both in after-school programs and other supplemental areas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
And Ms. Crotty, I believe I was actually skipped for the budgetary concerns for District 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. So going back to the last question on the staff hiring and retention.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Evans, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
not a problem. So I would be very supportive of our governor to go forward with the 300 million that he said he would be appreciative of to help the pay gaps for our veteran teachers. However, I have two reasons and two ways that we can absolutely increase the retention for teachers. The first, we must discuss behavior. We must address behavior in our classrooms. We must have consequences for students when they break the rules. Our teachers are plagued with administrators not supporting them. And secondly, we must support our teachers verbally. We need strong leaders that when we have people addressing our teachers as a generality, saying they are doing awful things with our students, we need to say, if that's happening, please provide proof. Please show us where that's happening and we'll address that. But you don't get to make baseless attacks against our Seminole County school teachers. Their teachers are far too underappreciated, especially in a low pay environment, to be just baselessly attacked by any and everybody. We need strong leaders to defend them.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the question for District 5 and repeat it before Mr. Memminger responds. What is your plan to get individual schools that are not currently A-rated up to par with the district rating?
All right, there you go. Well, first things first, I think look at every school as its unique individual in and to itself. Look at the community that surrounds it and what are the needs from that community. I think it's talking to the parents, talking to the students, and talking to the staff, and finding out what they feel they're lacking and why they are in the position that they're in. I think that's an evaluation process that you start there first. And once you see those resources that you need to allocate, we have to look at how we're going to get them the funding, get them the personnel that they need to succeed, because there's a reason they're underachieving. It's not that the children cannot learn, is that we need to figure out why they are not and what they're coming to school with as baggage that we may be able to help them with, even if it's something simple as food insecurity or issues at home that may involve mental health or poverty or something else along those lines that are underlying issues. So addressing those needs and concerns in the community first and foremost, I think then improves the students' academic performance on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. Ms. Quinones-Aristone?
Thank you so much. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So plan to get our students back on track. First and foremost, I would say that we need to have transparent conversations with our teachers as well as our staff in each particular school that we're trying to get back on track. And that's important because having transparent conversations with our teachers and our staff often will tell us what it is. It could be something really small, but can have a huge impact, thank you, on the student achievement in our schools. And that's also knowing what's going on in the environment, offering resources to those parents, partnering with more community leaders to come into the school. I love how my son attends Seminole High School, and they actually have individuals from the community come in, community leaders, and work hand in hand with the students. They have that presence there. And I think that when we partner again on behalf of our students, then we can bring them towards success. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you. And Ms. Fernandez?
Thank you. I worked in a middle school for all my years of teaching. And I can tell you as an educator, and from the teacher side, from the student side, no one gives a hoot about the grading. They don't. And I very much agree with Joshua's take on it, is that students, these children are phenomenal. Children will meet your expectations when you set standards for them and you give teachers autonomy and allow them to do their jobs and talk to the communities and see what the needs of these kids are, they will flourish. But when all we talk about is these wonderful programs to elevate the grades, I'm not about that. That's not, it's false, it's fake. And I think we need to focus on real solutions to these problems of making sure the kids have their needs met. We need to get completely involved. Parents, community, educators working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll turn back to District 1. What are your plans to support our exceptional student education population of students? Ms. Bauer?
There are two big things that we need to do for our ESE students. The first is through making a better legislative partnership with our legislators in Tallahassee. We've got to get the district law, the Florida state law changed that says the districts must rely on data that they conduct for themselves with studies and evaluations for 504 and IEPs to May, because that will allow parents who have already spent time, money, and energy and efforts to get assessments done privately on their students to expedite the process. The second thing that I think we need to do is we have to make it so that school administrators from the district are not taking the lead on the 504 and IEP process. We have to have parents, guidance counselors, and principals and staff at individual school sites being the ones that start the process so that it's less combative, more supportive, so that we can get those students the help and accommodations they need as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Ms. Krause?
Well, I'd like to see additional staff members under the ESS department. The current waiting period for an assessment can be upwards of 2 to 3 weeks. And many times that's too long. The student has then potentially lost 2 to 3 weeks of intervention services. We are guided currently by the legislature, as Dr. Bauer indicated. It would be my hope that we can change that so we can accept outside assessments from professionals in our community. Additionally, I feel like we need to add mental health supports that can share resources available, whether in the district or outside of the district, so our families know what resources might be available to them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will be addressed to the District 2 candidates. Mr. Evans, I'm going to begin with you, so we for sure won't forget you this time. What can local school boards do about the erosion of local control by the state legislature and the State Department of Education?
And not a problem about the last piece. If I can't stand up for myself, I certainly can't stand up for our students, I'm sure. However, in terms of bringing control back, we have to have strong leadership that can tussle with Tallahassee. You know, I've spent many years of the past, well, I spent the past few years with our local chambers lobbying for things that are directly affecting our citizens in Seminole County, from the commercial tax hikes to insurance for small business umbrellas. So we need strong leadership who can look at the law coming down from Tallahassee, and we can, you know, get right to it. You know, we can get to the law before it happens. You know, having good relationship with our legislators is one of the best ways to ensure law protects our students, our staff, and our parents' rights in Seminole County, as well as the state of Florida.
Thank you. Mr. Monty?